Welcome to the Money Mentors Podcast.
This podcast is for you. So if you have a retirement question you'd like us to address, reach out to us online anytime at matsonfinancial.com. Get to know us there. Well, hopefully you check up on your Social Security statements from time to time on the Social Security website to get an idea of what you might get in benefits when you're ready to claim. But did you know the maximum paycheck in 2025 for someone meeting a number of different requirements would be $5,108 per month? But, okay, I'm going to turn to first our Social Security expert of sorts here on the show, Laurel. How hard is it for someone to actually reach that maximum amount? Because I haven't heard of many people getting to that level.
Yes, and I'm also going to say that's not the net amount.
Okay.
Right? So let's start with that's your base, and that's what you're going to see on your statements. And I'll get back to what I mean by the net amount here in a minute. But in order to reach that amount, 3 things that you'll need to do. The first is you're going to have to work for at least 35 years because
consecutive.
This Social Security formula takes your highest 35 years of earnings into account. So if you've worked fewer than those 35 years and you've got zeros in that calculation for some of those missing years, that's mathematically impossible to get this max.
You're not going to get there if you don't.
So second one is earn the Social Security maximum in at least 35 years. So in order to determine which 35 years were the highest, the Social Security Administration doesn't simply look at the dollar amounts that you earned. So after all, a $50,000 salary, and let's say, 1990, and a $50,000 salary in 2024 were 2 completely different things.
Yeah.
So the SSA will actually index all of your earnings for inflation and will consider a maximum amount of earnings each year. So as you can see, it's their system.
It's a little
We got to
complicated.
abide by the system.
A lot of math.
And number 3 here, you have to wait to actually max all of this out past your full retirement age, and that's age 70 to start collecting these benefits, right? So these individuals at that very high amount, they didn't take early, they didn't take at their full retirement age, they took at the max age of 70.
The very last day they could sign up and not get burned because they didn't sign up. Age
Just you
70
have
is the
to.
max.
Okay.
And the other thing to keep in mind is when you earn a certain amount of income, right? Or even with your Social Security, it can be taxable, right? Depending on, there's a different threshold for being single than there is for a threshold of being household. So likely you're going to be taxed. Your benefits will actually be taxed, and you're not going to earn that actual amount net to you. So it looks nice on paper, but once again, what is that going to look like when everything else is layered into your plan? Taxes are paid. Maybe you have a pension into, so it really does change a lot of things. You can't just look at this one little pillar and think, oh, I'm set with, $60,000 or $61,000 a year here. That's not really accurate. So that's why you need that extra professional on our team here at Matson Financial, guide you through those processes, stress test things and see what income actually looks like for you with your Social Security.
Yeah, most people will not get the maximum, but the important thing is to get the maximum that you're eligible for your plan. That's what Laurel just said, exactly that. And that's what we do for you. We give you a Social Security optimization plan, and it's going to calculate the different choices you can have, the earliest and the latest, and how it works for longevity. What happens if your spouse passes before you do? Who's left? How much money is going to be there? We do all of that, like Laurel said, literally stress test your income so you know that you can get through retirement without having no money. That's the worst thing you can have is somebody at the end goes like, ran out of money, my spouse is gone, what am I going to do? No, we're going to show you that will never happen underneath the stress test that Laurel's talking about.
We're going to tell you more in just a moment here about how you can get that complimentary stress test for yourself and actually see how much perhaps you can get in Social Security based on what you've earned over the years. You can actually see it on paper and see how that would work with your other retirement savings too. Stress test it for yourself. It's coming up here in just a moment on Money Mentors. But it's interesting, Gary and Laurel, Go Banking Rates recently analyzed just how far your Social Security benefits plus $1 million in retirement savings would stretch over the course of retirement in every single state. And I have to say, the results here in Michigan looked good at first glance. I mean, their website says the amount of savings should stretch more than 60 years here. But then I looked at their calculations, and the average monthly expenditure for retirees they used is just over $1,800, which I'm thinking, might be a little low to some of our listeners based on lifestyle here. So it seems like maybe $1 million might not be enough. So Social Security plus $1 million in some cases may or may not be. It seems like it depends situation here, right?
Yeah.
Well, what we say, it's always about what you get to spend, not what you earn. In other words, the taxes are going to take a big bite if you do it incorrectly. So what we want to do is have the income, little taxes, and that gives you more money to spend.
Yeah, I mean, if you think about $1 million in a 401k, traditionally, that's what we see. That hasn't been diversified yet. Well, that's all pre-tax dollars, right? Like Dad's talking about, is then you get the tax bite. So what is actually to you, net to you, that you get to spend? But if you would have done some proper planning, sat down with, one of our fiduciary advisors here at Matson Financial, what that could look like is vastly different, because we're going to look at, yes, your income flow and what you need, but how are we going to make sure that we have your critical income need guaranteed every month? So no matter what market fluctuations are, you're not taking money from a lost position, because obviously you're going to run out of money a lot quicker than that. But also Social Security, all of these things that we're going to layer into your plan. We're going to talk about health insurance, right? I mean, you look at $1,800 a month, and then you have an event for your health. Woof, that's not going to work at all.
Yeah.
I mean, we see statistics that it costs $300,000, as you get older and you have care. So there's a lot that goes into this plan, but that's what we do is we put it in black and white. We put it in writing in front of you so you can see your hard-earned dollars. What's maybe the best Social Security maximization or optimization plan for you? And then where do things settle kind of at the end of the life expectancy? And how does that feel to you? Is that what you were thinking? Because obviously we should be still earning money for you, right? Having money in the markets and doing things like that to protect your nest egg and your principal. But then next step is, what do you do with the money that's left behind? I mean, I sat in on a meeting, I think last summer it was already, and I remember the husband and wife looking at each other and saying, we love our kids, but 1.6, I think we can enjoy some more for ourselves.
Maybe not
so that's
quite that much.
Exactly. So that's the fun conversation that we get to be a part of, and tweaking the plan. And it's not going to be the same every year, right? We're going to meet at least annually. Some of our clients we meet with quarterly, depending on what's more comfortable for you, but making sure we're making tweaks, because your lifestyle is going to change. Maybe your dreams and goals are going to change, and so might your health.
It was so much fun this last year during Christmas time, and we had a couple come in for their annual review. They were fortunate enough that they wanted to do gifting, and it came about 10 years earlier than they thought they would start gifting. And so they gave each one of the kids at Christmas time a very nice check. And they said, this is something we can do this year. May not be able to do it next year, but we want to do this. And they wrote out the checks and gave it to them. And the kids kind of sat around the fire and kind of looked at each other, and one started crying and go, which one of you's dying first? What's going on? Why are you dying? And they're like, no, it's nothing bad. No, we can just afford to do it this year. And it's nice to be able to do things ahead of schedule and see what your kids are going to do with those dollars as well.
Want weekly lessons from your money mentors? Yes. Hit the subscribe button now and listen every weekend on Wood Radio.
The opinions expressed in this program are for general informational purposes only and are not intended to provide specific advice or recommendations for any individual or on any specific security. To determine which investments may be appropriate for you, consult your financial advisor prior to investing. Any past performance discussed during this program is no guarantee of future results. Fee-based financial planning and investment services are offered by Matson Financial Services, LLC, an SEC-registered investment advisor. Insurance products and services offered through Lakeview Financial Group, LLC, Matson Financial Services, LLC, and Lakeview Financial Group are affiliated. To find out if Matson Financial Services is licensed in your state, please call 800-536-8907.